Live after what has been an odd game to watch. The Buckeyes win 21-7. They beat the Northwestern Wildcats. A sluggish performance. We'll break down what we witnessed today and why I am a little more concerned about a big game down the road after what we witnessed in this game against the Northwestern Wildcats. The Locked On Buckeyes postcast after another win starts right now.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ohio State fans, we're back here on Locked On Buckeyes to break down the sluggish, sad, lackluster performance the Buckeyes put up against the Northwestern Wildcats. The Buckeyes won 21-7, but this game was weird to watch. I want to thank everyone watching us live right now on the YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you're notified every time. Subscribe button to just join the party. Hit the bell so you're notified every time a new video goes live. And those of you that have already hit that bell, you guys got alerted when this live postcast went live. You can follow me on Twitter at JSteven07 as your boy will be sharing quite a few thoughts that he has about this team after what was one of the honest and weirdest football games I have watched in quite a long time. And those of you that have been around for a while know that I watch a lot of football, from Ohio State games to high school football games to games in the NFL. I like watching football. Football is one of my favorite sports. And this game was weird. From the pregame, when we found out that Jackson Smith-Njigba was going to be out again, Cam Brown, starting corner, was going to be out again. When we found out that Travion Henderson was going to be out for another game, that was weird. You add in the rain shortly after kickoff, playing on grass, which I love. The Buckeyes didn't seem to love it as much as your boy did. Then you also add in the wind. And the win in this game was a big factor. And it seemed like Northwestern, of course, they play in Chicago, but Northwestern was more prepared for the conditions of the game than the Buckeyes were. And it was very apparent from the play calls that Northwestern was calling on offense, the time of possession, which they dominated that, the ability that they had to disrupt the Buckeyes on offense. The defense was ready. You saw number 99. Not going to try to pronounce his name. It's very hard to say. But we also saw him even at times, hey, I don't want to go out and sack Stroud. I mean, he could go around me for a first down. How about I keep my hands up and disrupt the passing lane and his vision at this time? And this game, to me, you guys like the three takeaways that I give. Last week I gave a grade for the game. I'm going to share one here at the end of this show today. This game's weird, man. And I want to say this overall with this team, they are not playing like the number 2 team in the country. I don't know the order off the top of my head, but I do know Tennessee is number 1. Georgia's number 3. Number 4, I think, is Clemson. 5, the team up north. Number 6 is Alabama. And do I think that those teams would play like Ohio State did in the windy conditions and in the way that they performed? It's a questionable thing. I do know the Buckeyes, their offense is not conducive. It is not set up for windy conditions or even to be played on grass. Like, just to be honest with you, Ryan Day has built a team that's great on a track, great on the field turf, great in controlled conditions, the weather. When he put them outside, especially in Chicago, got that wind from the water, this thing is weird. Nicholas Payne on the YouTube comment section says, ugliest game ever. Yeah, it was ugly, man. It was weird. And this team is not playing like the number 2 team in the country. I don't care if they had a win. You're playing a team who only won a game this season on the other side of the pond, and it was back in August, in week 0, when ain't nobody watching the football. Something needs to change. Yeah, Ryan Day is a part of the issue right now. The offensive coaching staff and the lack of adjustments. We have praised Justin Fry here on this show. The offensive line today seemed like they were not up to the task of playing a physical, a Northwestern team that's, they say, similar to Iowa. Iowa puts in pros. that embodies what their head coach has in Pat Fitzgerald, a toughness that they have. And they are a sound, discipline, and also they're very experienced. We saw it in the secondary as the passing game was not there. It was mainly because and partly because of the defense of Northwestern. My biggest takeaway, you want my biggest takeaway right now? We'll share more on Monday's show. Ohio State is not playing. It did not play like the number 2 team in the country. Now, we'll discuss more about what happened in this game coming up later, some more about the defense, some more about Ryan Day and CJ Stroud. But before we get to any of that, this episode of Locked on Buckeyes is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to spice up the college football season. Underdog puts an emphasis on easy because it's easy to get started, and guys, it's easy to play while you are watching your favorite team play. So easy, it's available in over 30 states, and you pick between 2 and 5 players across any team, not just the Ohio State Buckeyes, and simply pick if they're going to finish higher or lower in the stats category that is available. One of the easiest fantasy games to play out there, and you can win cold hard cash in one single game. Sign up with the promo code Locked On. That's LOCKEDON, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Deposit of $100, get $100 free. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or find the Underdog Fantasy app in the App Store or Google Play Store. That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Locked On. Get in on the college football pick'em action today. Yeah, your boy is not happy about this game, and I just went down and discussed a few reasons why in this game, the windy conditions, why Ohio State stopped playing like the number 2 team in the country, and why I'm really shocked at what happened. But what more happened in this game? What else happened in this game? I mentioned the defense, and in Locked On Now for the Locked On Podcast Network, I mentioned and I made a statement about how Jim Knowles' defense is sometimes it can be a bend, but don't break defense. And we saw it again in this game. The defense bent, allowed a touchdown earlier, but they didn't break. And it was a 4th down stop. They stopped on 4th down, really fired up the Buckeyes defense. And I think they got a spark there after that. Yeah, there were some misdirections. There were some first downs. But Northwestern could not get anything. I don't think they got back into the end zone throughout the rest of the game. Got to give credit for the defense. So I just went and talked about why I don't think this is a number 2 team, and the Buckeyes aren't playing like the number 2 team in the country. However, let's think about this, though. The defense has been the best part of the team the entire year. Yeah, J.C. Burko on the special teams, he's up there as well. But the defense has been the best overall unit the entire year for Ohio State. That cannot be said about the offense. And I see a lot of people, the badass Buckeye on YouTube. Oh, sorry. Locked On might not like the 3-letter word. I apologize. But you see people talking, and there's numerous people talking about the offensive line and the struggles that they have there. Think about this. The offensive line was doing well prior to the bye week. This is a thought that I had during the game. I was watching the game with my girlfriend and her parents, and I don't think I really shared this out loud. I was quiet a lot of this game, and this thought was in my head. Did the bye week hurt the team, specifically the offensive line? Because prior to the bye week, the offensive line was flowing, doing very well, couldn't really get things going in the run game, but they weren't getting dominated in the way that they did today. Iowa, Penn State, Northwestern, this offensive line to me is in question, and it's not being helped by the personnel that Ryan Day and the offensive coaches are putting on the field. On the Twitter, sent a tweet out earlier. The tweets kind of got shortened and lesser as the game went on because your boy was really quiet because I was not satisfied with this performance at all. Yeah, Ohio State wins, and people are saying, yes, you should be happy with the win. I'm happy the Buckeyes are undefeated. But I'm not happy with what we have seen and witnessed on the football field lately. So in this game, especially early on, we saw that Northwestern was going to be hard to run the ball against. So what do you do when you're struggling to run the ball? I thought this was something everybody knew. You might want to go with a heavier set. You might want to bring in another tight end. You might want to bring in a fullback. You might want to bring in a heftier or beefier personnel group to combat what the other team is doing. What does Ohio State do? They try to stick with their spread system. 2 receivers on the outside, 1 slot receiver, Stover, and even Mike Williams in the back. Oh, here's a thought. I am really shocked. Shouldn't be. But I am shocked Ryan Day has not tried to use a backup running back when one of his top 2 backs is not on the field. When Mike Williams was the featured back, he had 5 touchdowns. We didn't see anybody else try to spell him or anything. When Henderson was the featured back, nothing. Week ago in Penn State, Williams goes down. Henderson, the only back that plays the rest of the game. Now, granted, he scored late in the game, but I'm really shocked that they haven't tried Dallin Hayden, Chip Traynor, or even Xavier Johnson in the backfield. And I think that's one thing that we probably would have loved to see in this game, shake things up a little bit. But back to the original conversation about the personnel groupings. So Ohio State struggles to run the ball. Offensive line can't get a push. D-line didn't get a push either. Really, a lot of the game. Really late, you really started to fix some things, but the battle of the trenches, man. Northwestern was ready for this fight. But in this matchup, I was hoping and thinking, especially after the first quarter, probably more wishful thinking and hoping this would happen. Ohio State would go to more of a 2 tight end set, give me Cade Stover, not G. Scott Jr., give me Josh Fryer, and then give me Mitch Rossi at the fullback, either 22 personnel or 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, or 2 backs and 2 tight ends. Josh Fryer, a lot of the time, wears number 41. He's in the stat book or the roster as an offensive lineman, offensive tackle. So you bring in a beefier guy to extend your line out one way, then put Stover out there, and then run the ball. Try to change something up. Didn't see that happen consistently. Someone said when they tried it earlier in the game, it didn't work. Well, that was with G. Scott Jr., and I would not try 12 personnel with G. Scott Jr. when you're trying to run the ball. But there are adjustments that this team does not make. I will praise the defense a lot over the next week for what they have done and what they did. But even in this game, I would think at some point you try to run a 4-3, traditional 4-3 look, take Tanner McAllister off the field, bring in Cody Simon, do what you did against, was it Iowa? It was Iowa or Penn State. I believe it was Iowa, where there was a 4-3 on the field quite a bit, and it really messed up Iowa's offensive attack. Do something like that. I would have loved to see some type of adjustments. But yeah, they're not playing like the number 2 team in the country. Gave you numerous reasons why. The lack of adjustments. Oh, CJ Stroud, in this game, I can't put all the stuff on him, even though he did not play. And at times it looked like he was not interested in playing the football game. The conditions weren't great. I will not try to say they were. They were not great at all. Windy, rainy, wet on grass, not a great combination. But Stroud a lot of times does not look interested. Believe, as I look at the numbers, he had more rushing yards than passing yards. Let that sink in for you. 38% completion percentage, not conducive, not what you want to see, not what you want to see at all. But something has to change, man. Like, if you know your guys are getting guarded really tightly and closely and every pass is contested, and also the wind is not helping you and it's not in your favor, how about something changes? First and second down, consistently throwing the ball, getting yourself in 3rd and long, that's not great. If you're trying to run in 11 personnel, that's not working on 1st and 2nd down, how about the next drive? You stop that. Yes, I am one of those Ohio State guys and podcasters that's going to be not as pleased with every win as some people will be. A 14-point win over a team with only 1 loss. With only 1 win. Their last win came in October of 2021. Their only win their last win in America, that is, came in October of 2021. Their only win this year came on the other side of the pond over in Ireland. Yes, that's why I'm perturbed and not excited and happy with what we witnessed today against the Northwestern Wildcats. Also, did Ryan Day get out-coached by Pat Fitzgerald? I'll let you guys answer that question. I'll give you my answer. I think he did. But the last time these 2 teams played, if it wasn't for Trey Sermon, Northwestern may have won that game. Different outcome for the same outcome for Northwestern as it was in the 2020 Big Ten Championship. Out of here, with another live postcast, trying to do these at the conclusion of every game. Subscribe to the podcast on Locked on Buckeyes. Hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video goes live, and you get notified when a live show begins right here on Locked on Buckeyes. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. Send your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. Buckeyes win 21-7, 14-point win over a one-win team. I say it like that on purpose because we can't wait till Monday's show and the rest of the week because we have a lot to talk about.